morning, Marcus D.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Back here and in the saddle. How art thou? Hey, let's just get to our topic. I'm hot and ready to go.
Well, let's see, because it says there's an issue and we haven't gone live yet. So let's
Mine
see.
says live. It's 15 seconds, 16, 17. Oh, I'm by myself. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are working on getting some things together, and we're going to get our host back here in a bit. I haven't done this broadcast live by myself ever, but I tell you what, here's the facts. I've never seen a mic I didn't like. You understand? You heard me? Never. I'll take this microphone and I'm gone, out of here. I will take it.
I come back and you are just looking at me like,
I said, look, I might be hosting by myself, and that's okay. My phrase is that I've never seen a mic I didn't like.
That's right.
If I'm on an altitude plane of 35,000 foot altitude and they say, is there any pilots on board? The pilots have passed out. Can anybody fly this 747 with 500 souls on it? I said, yeah, I could do it.
Yeah.
Get me up there, put the people in my ear. You got to be in my ear, and I'll land this plane and save our lives.
That's
without
right.
the people, without the ear, without being in there, we're not going to make it. But if I got the folks in my ear, it's kind of almost a spiritual analogy to our higher source. If he's in your ear, you're going to make it. All right. Speaking of that, let's talk about fear. What are your thoughts?
See, you say so much that's so relevant and so powerful.
That could be unpacked over a period of hours.
All of that could be unpacked.
However, if you call that number on your screen, we can unpack some things on the phone.
We can unpack some things for you. I mean, because we're like this all the time. We are like this all the time.
That's how we live our life. Yeah.
This is how we live our lives. This is how we live our lives. So I want to ask you a question, because you just said something powerful about if you were on a plane and the pilot conks out, zonks out, has a seizure or whatever, and they ask, is there anyone on this plane? And you said, yep. You raise your hand and say, I can land this bad boy.
I'll land this 500, yeah, right.
And I'll land it with 500 souls on board. Yeah. I want to ask you, when you took flying lessons and you started that training for flying, did you, was that a comfort zone that you had to go outside of? Were there any aspects of that initially you're like, wow, you had to press yourself beyond?
Well, the fear, if there was a fear, when I was taking lessons, the first instructor was a lady that's probably 4'11". So she had to sit on about 4 or 5 phone books. We had phone books back then, the yellow pages. Wow. She had to sit on those to train me. And she, like I said, she's 4'11". And so I was confident and comforted in her skills, because she's not going to get up here. And I couldn't conceive of her messing things up and getting us killed, training me. When it was time to do my first solo, they don't tell you ahead of time. She says, just pull over here for a second. I need to do something. She pulls over and gets out. She says, now you take off and fly by yourself. Wait a minute, hold on here.
Oh my gosh.
And that got some things in my body puckered up real nice and tight. and so she says, just do 3 takeoffs and 3 landings. They're called touch and goes. You don't come to a complete stop, and just do 3 of those and come back. So that, to answer your question, is how I would define an element of fear that I wasn't expecting, but she felt the confidence in me. So I had to trust her confidence that she's got in me.
Wow.
So that's how I got myself comforted, is I'm having to trust the source of who's saying, you can do this, now go. So I did it.
Wow.
I was successful. And I never had any issues again. Now, when I did this with the helicopters, same thing. I was more petrified because there's no room for error in a helicopter. You don't have room for error in a helicopter. I got a lot of room for error in an airplane. They could just fly by themselves even. But the helicopter, no. So same thing happened there, but I got to trust his confidence in me. And that's when I was by myself and I'm solo. That is qualifications for what you're talking about right now.
Well, yeah, because I've been thinking about, we coach so many people and have coached also so many folks who hold themselves back.
Oh,
And one of the common things that I hear, and I know that as you and I have discussed it, that you have heard as well, is, well, that's outside my comfort zone.
yes.
What is a person really saying when they say that something, some activity, some action is outside of their comfort zone? And
Yeah.
unpacking that, and that's what we're doing today, because I know that there are folks who are tuned in and they're listening, and they may have even said those words themselves.
Yeah,
Well,
people don't
I'm
want to
not
come out of
comfortable
their
with that.
comfort
That sounds,
zone. It's a fearful thing. Remember, well, I mean, their audience maybe never heard us talk about, but fear, I've always used as an acronym, FEAR, and that stands for false evidence appearing real. That's the root definition of fear, false evidence appearing real. Well, with our methodologies and concepts and techniques, we get that converted over a period of time. And now that stands for face everything and rejoice. We flip that script. FEAR, face everything and rejoice. Well, people don't want to come outside of their boundaries. There's people, there's a highways. Most cities have a highway that loops around and encompasses the whole city. Well, in Indianapolis, it's Highway 465. There's people that have never come outside of that circumference of Highway 465, and they're not going to go beyond it. Never. So that's fearful. But there was a study done where kids were able to go outside and play. And when there was no fence around that whole playground, the kids always huddled in the middle of that field, and they didn't go beyond because they just didn't feel safe. So then they put the fence around that whole perimeter of the playground. When the fence was up, all the kids went to all the four edges and corners of that whole playground. They felt safe because they're enclosed in a fenced-in area, and they utilize that whole entire space. So there's lots of studies done on this. We can help people come outside of their comfort zone and go beyond their normal limits and boundaries. And what I've discovered, the reason that helps me just go out there more aggressively, is because life is really happening, Coach, way more excitingly outside of our normal comfort zones. When I come across an opportunity to go out there and beyond, based on my experiences doing this over and over and over, it's just a lot more exciting. It's a lot more invigorating. And then I was told this, look, hey, sometimes we got to go out and experience and then come back and drop little crumbs to lead other people outside of their comfort zone. We got to get them and just take them slowly but surely and drop in the crumblets from what we've discovered out there ourselves, and then help them get there that way. So I'll go out and beyond, come back and bring them a little further. I'll go out far further and beyond, and I'll come back and bring them a little bit further. And that's just basically the way life is. Sometimes we have to get a coach or get somebody that can help lead us to higher levels of thinking.
One of the most exciting and rewarding things for me is to have a client that says, I never thought I would be able to do this.
Yes.
When I hear those words, and I've heard those words so many times over the years, when they have that aha moment, that breakthrough moment, and they take that step and they launch out beyond those zones of fear, that's what they are. We call them comfort zones, but they're zones of fear. They're fear zones.
Right.
But to hear that client say, I never thought that I would be able to do this. I never saw myself doing this. I cannot describe to you the sense of fulfillment and how rewarding. And we feed on that, don't we, Marcus?
That's the greatest feeling in the world. It's the greatest feeling. So I love facilitating those types of things for people because, someone did it for me. The other thing that's a big factor, would have never been able to grasp this, but the studies have found that people are way more afraid of success and succeeding than they are of failure. Well, I didn't get that concept, but they said, look, we're familiar with failure. I know I am. I'm familiar with plenty of failures. So I'm not in shock when I get an F, or I'm not in shock when I failed in certain things. It's not shocking because I know about it. Yeah. Well, having massive success, being more afraid of massive success than failure, couldn't conceive of it. And then I became good friends with Smokey Robinson 25 years ago. Yeah. And he his company asked me to work for them full time. opening up the concerts. Instead of with a comedian, they wanted to use an inspirational speaker for 30 minutes. So I'm asked to do this. I only got 2 kids at the time. I'm having a pretty good lifestyle there in Las Vegas. And when they asked me to work for him full time, I understand what they mean now about being way more afraid of massive success than of failure. Because I said, absolutely not. Not going to do that and have that kind of success and traveling all over the world. I couldn't conceive of it. So I said no. So there is a factor involved here too, Coach, where we can be even more afraid of massive success. We're not prepared. We're not orientated in our minds to receive massive success. So we have ways to help coach people with getting over normal levels of fear, coming outside of their normal levels of comfort zones and boundaries. But there's even concepts dealing with being afraid of massive success. And we can help with that too. So all this stuff is real talk. We experience it ourselves. You and I both experience the same things that everybody else is, but we've chosen over these last combined 75 years to get into personal development and help facilitate ourselves through this with coaches. We did this with coaches and with the anointing from up above. And so that's why we're able to be positioned to help others do the same.
Right. No, that's so powerful. It's so true. I tell you, the protocols that are used during our seminars and trainings and what have you, I would just love to hear the way you articulate this. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
We are not motivational speakers.
Correct.
That's not what we are. We don't use cute little catchy phrases and hoorah, hoorah, and leave folks on an emotional high just to walk out of the doors, real life hits, and they don't have any tools to navigate through life to help them level up and achieve success. So with those protocols that we use, just could you just shed a little light for someone who deals today? They may say, oh, well, I've always said I'm not comfortable with that, or that's outside of my comfort zone. I didn't realize I was being governed by fear. I didn't realize fear is what had me locked up and chained up. So would you describe, just give a little verbiage, a little sneak peek into how our sessions, our seminars, our coaching, even our one-on-ones that we do via Zoom or there in person, how our protocols help give individuals the actual tools? How do we do that? What experiences do we create for our clients?
Well, that's a very powerful point to bring up, because people do want to classify us as motivational speakers, and I've never done that before, but that's what the umbrella that people want to put us in. And so, there's a very big difference. We will not be up in front of a room for 8 hours or 5 days, or we're not going to be up at all doing some kind of a motivational thing that can last a matter of minutes. By the time a person leaves our session and goes back to their car, then that motivation can be gone. A lot of people bring themselves to the seminars and they leave their problems are left in the car and left in the trunk, locked up, and some of their problems are left at home. And then when they could leave our sessions, if we're doing motivational stuff, those problems are going to jump back on your face, head, and neck as soon as you get back in that car, or as soon as you play the missed call messages. We're doing, Coach, as we know, it's inspirational, and it's called, the best word I can use to describe is called experiential. It's experiential trainings and workshops. So we're live on the boots on the ground, on the floor, going throughout the audiences or individual, and we're working on people's inner cores to help tap into their self-sabotaging programs that were derived in childhood. And then we help bring those self-sabotaging programs up to the forefront. And we have ways to reprogram what was planted in there in the conscious mind and in the subconscious mind. Pretty intricate work. It's very delicate work. And we have to take great responsibility and high levels of accountability when we're working with people on that level. So we have to be responsible, because it's a very vulnerable, sometimes sensitive situation. But we're working through workshops and techniques and strategies and concepts and exercises. We're not doing motivational stuff up in front of the room. We're with you either one-on-one or with a group, but we're involved and we're having you experience these breakthroughs versus just hearing about these breakthroughs in your ear. You are experiencing that. So sometimes it can trigger an emotional moment, but with our time being up for today, I'm going to cliffhanger you with call us up on the phone. People are calling us up now, and just listen to how we can facilitate your growth so that you are able to be a part of what we're doing on a local, national, and international level. It's an experience, and you probably will never forget it for the rest of your life. That's it, Coach.
So true. Yeah, before we hop off, I just want to thank our supporters, thank our investors,
yes, thank you.
Folks who believe in us and want the mission of Dell and Dell to go forward. We're so elated. We are extremely excited. This Saturday, we're doing a soft launch. We're doing a soft launch right here in Southern California.
350,000 people in Los Angeles. I can hardly wait to get there. Coming to town early, but 350,000 people Saturday. Come on.
Yes, Dell and Dell will be in the house, or we should say on Crenshaw. Woo!
That's right.
We're so excited about that. We look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. MD, we're out. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.